ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। Master, the feeling of divine is awakened in me when I see a great crowd of people. Had I seen that meeting, I should have been overwhelmed with spiritual fervor. A devotee described the convocation of Calcutta University, saying that meeting looked like a forest of human heads. Hundreds of people joining and watching. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling, if I were to have seen that scene, then I would have lost my external consciousness, will be filled with divine fervor. I should have been overwhelmed with spiritual fervor. The feeling of divine is awakened in me when I see a great crowd of people. Living beings, among the living beings, maximum consciousness, Chaitanya, is manifested in human beings. When huge gathering of human beings is there, Sri Ramakrishna used to see so much of manifestation of consciousness, Chaitanya, as if the divine is dancing there in front of him. It is something like Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrabhada. Thousands of heads and thousands of this one. Means the thousands means not countable through the numbers. It is all pervasive. Like a object, suppose this book is looking collectively a block of matter. But as you go deeper and deeper, as you break down, you see molecules gathered together. Then if you break the molecules, you'll see the atoms. In the atom you see so many electrons rolling, spinning around. And the atom, as you go deeper, you see the breaking down. Collective vision is different from the individual vision. Here, collective, just like it looks like a book for us, millions of atoms together, thousands of people together would look like a whole cosmic being manifest there in minutest way, moving about. The Ananda, every soul within that sheath is Ananda Swarupa. Bodily limitation is bringing a person may be very filled in grief. Inside is the picture of Ananda. Filled, if you just look at a person intensely suffering, weeping, or physically he is suffering, some great disease or met with an accident, the leg is crushed, he is suffering. But just to transcend the mind and body and mind, you will see the picture of Ananda is as it is. It's covered by a body with which the soul is identifying as myself and suffering. The moment he sleeps, Any amount of pain in the body is unknown. When he transcends the dream state also, any psychological problems he is facing is no more there. The core of man is Ananda Swarupa. But in waking state, invariably he identifies with the body, and when you are able to see collectively, when there is the bodily existence become like a screen outside which is dropping away, and the inner Chaitanyas, the Ghata in Hindi and all, Ghata Ghata mein Ramata hai Bhagavan. That Ghata term is used to refer that inside is different, external. Ghata is only, this bodily existence is only a container of Ananda inside. The identification of that individual soul with the body makes it miserable. All pains and this one is just because of that. So when Sri Ramakrishna sees a crowd, he sees Ananda Ghata everywhere. Oh, with so many external things, but inside is that container of Ananda. So I should have been overwhelmed with spiritual fervor. Next comes in another day, Sunday, April 8th, 1883. It was Sunday morning. The master, looking like a boy, was seated in his room, and near him was another boy, his beloved disciple Rakhal. M entered and saluted the master. Sri Ramakrishna's bhava used to be always a child. I am the child of mother. And naturally, the simplicity and humility that he possessed, he manifested because of the oneness with the divine. Wherever you see oneness with the divine, you see extreme humility and extreme simplicity. The identification with the Chaitanya, when the spiritual awareness dawns in man, spirit pervades everything. Good and bad, right and wrong, what man conceives as good and bad, everything is pervaded. Whatever is there, at any level, you see spiritual and divine is present. In your deep sleep, when you are unaware of the body, the divine is there, the nature, Mother Nature is there. It is pervading your existence. The spiritual being is still there. At all levels of the existence, in everything, whether it is mind or intellect or senses, the mind is thinking good and bad, doesn't matter. It is pervaded by the spiritual existence which is making it exist. The existence itself is God, spiritual. When he is in spiritual awareness, true spirituality makes it, because he is all pervading, Ambal. He is below the grass, he is pervading the grass, he is in the tree, he is pervading the tree. So there is extreme humility because it has to penetrate into the most subtlest thing, like deep sleep. It has to pervade it, means how subtle, how humility, manifestation of the humility is only an external expression of that spiritual, this one. So here we see in Sri Ramakrishna that simplicity and the awareness. Mother is there, I am its child. The mother and child relationship, as child is presenting to the world a great ideal of absolute purity and perfection, and where one can constantly unbroken communion with God with total dependence on the divine providence, and how the God takes care of a person who is totally given himself and accepts and feels his helplessness without God. All this is just an example for us and a demonstration how to live, how to attain, and what would be the fruit after attainment. So here we see Sri Ramakrishna sitting like a boy, and another boy, his beloved disciple Rakal. How M is painting the things you see. M entered and saluted the master. Ramlal also was in the room, and Kishori, Manilal, Malik, and several other devotees gathered by and by. One by one started coming. Mani Malik, a businessman, had recently been to Banaras, where he owned a bungalow. Manilal Malik, a businessman, had recently been to Banaras, where he owned a bungalow. Many of these Bengalis, they used to like to have a bungalow in holy places like Banaras, Jagannath Puri, and such places they used to have their. And Bengalis have one nature, even a person who is earning very modest earnings, he can just meet the two ends of the family somehow. Still he sees that some amount of money he keeps and preserves it for annual going to pilgrimage. This is a peculiar thing. A beggar also wants to go for a pilgrimage at least once in a year to some holy place. Somehow they manage to go once in a year to some holy place and come. And for others to accommodate them often and themselves to go and stay. Their friends and relatives can go and stay such places whenever there is leisure. They used to have a bungalow. Even most of the disciples also we see bungalow. Master, so he had been to Banaras, that is Kashi. Did you see any holy man there? How each one has his own view, his own goals and aims. Anybody going anywhere, themselves or others, they ask about it. Farmers, when they come to some other place, they'll be seeing farming. And anybody come from the village, first thing they ask is, how is the fasal they produce in the farms? They don't even ask first, how are you? How is your family? First they ask, how is the products in the farms? Like that, each has a ideal in his mind, a thing, purpose, and his concern. Where is his concern? So here we see Sri Ramakrishna always in spiritual consciousness and seeing the spiritual world. He has gone there. Has he met? The purpose of going anywhere must be, and the purpose of human life ultimately must be to realize God and go beyond all limitations. So here Sri Ramakrishna is asking, did you see any holy man there? Manila, yes sir. I paid my respects to Trailinga Swami and Bhaskarananda and others. Master, tell us something about them. Manilal, Trailinga Swami is living in the same temple were relieved before on the Manikarnika Ghat near Benimadhav minaret. People say that he was formerly in more exalted spiritual state. He could perform many miracles. Now he has lost much of that power. Master. That is the criticism of worldly people. The thing is, spiritual in a person, the normal world, people in the world who are aspiring for worldly things, they judge him from what worldly things they can get from. He's spiritual if he can cure somebody's disease, can get some children married, things like that. My daughter is not getting married, how to get that? If he can do that, I don't have children, if he can, yes, you will get children. All these things, he has lost his business, somebody has lost his job. All these, a spiritual personality is judged by the secular gains that they get from him. Oh, he's great spiritualist. He could cure my son's disease. Spirituality has nothing to do with the material world. Though some of the blessings, prayers of great souls will definitely help, but that doesn't decide the amount of spirituality a person has got. Like great people like Ramana Maharshi and all, they were immersed in Brahman. They could not cure somebody's disease or do anything, nor they could wanted to cure their own diseases. But the heights of spirituality they attained and they displayed in the world cannot be measured. Like that, some ordinary people also many times tell something, bless something, and it happens. And people feel, worldly people feel, they are of great spirituality. Now, how the people judge, that is the criticism of worldly people, because worldly people means it is not a world of contempt here. Worldly people, they are seekers of the worldly prosperity, worldly safety. Those people who are in the world, belonging to the world. The spiritual personalities can be in the world, being not worldly. Here we see the worldly people, they are seekers of the worldly prosperity and safety. Manila. Trailing Swami keeps a strict vow of silence. Unlike him, Bhaskarananda is friendly with all. Master. Did you have any conversation with Bhaskarananda? Manila. Yes, sir. We had a long talk. Among other things, we discussed the problem of good and evil. He said to me, don't follow the path of evil. Give up sinful thoughts. That is how God wants us to act. Perform only those duties that are virtuous. The clear guidance to move on the spiritual path and with ethics as the companion. Master. Yes, that's also a path. That's also a path meant for the worldly minded people. Worldly minded people are those who are seeking worldly prosperity, worldly safety, and these people are attached to the objects of the world and my family, my this one. They are limited by their own possessions and concerns. For them, most important part is to, because there is great something like poverty and all that when it comes, how to sustain life becomes more important. When there is hatred, jealousy, competition, inner problems, external problems, the tendency is somehow to escape. I may tell a lie to escape from a situation. I feel it is necessary and there is no harm. I'm not going to harm anybody by telling a lie, but the whole problem will be solved. Here comes the problem of dharma and adharma, evolution and stagnation, the fall from the ideal. All this, when they see what ultimately brings me freedom from nature, then comes into picture. Doesn't matter. I may have to undergo a lot of suffering and take pain, get insults and all that, but let me tell truth. So the difference there we find an essential factor governing the life in the world is morality, character. Live that. Now God and things become a little higher achievements. We have to achieve that. Like a boy who is joining school has to, for them, ABCD only. But when they go to higher classes, he has to finish education one day. He has to go to God. He has to realize God. But when they are in that standard, they need that. It is for those people, the seekers of the worldly prosperity, from there for them, this is all right. This is also a path to that. Yes, there is also a path meant for the worldly minded people. But those spiritual those whose spiritual consciousness has been awakened, who have realized that God alone is real and all else is illusory, cherish a different ideal. How we differentiate, you see. The thing is, both are in the same boat. He has also not realized God, that person has also not realized God. One is seeking the world and worldly prosperities. The other is understanding God alone is real. All these are illusory, passing show of the world. It won't be there tomorrow. What is happening today, what are my problems will not be there tomorrow. It is appearing and disappearing, constantly changing flux. I want something unchanging, momentary pleasures with lot of bondage and suffering, lot of efforts. A momentary pleasure I get. Here is the unbroken stream of Ananda. So here it is there. He has not seen, that other person also has not seen. He has not attained, and that person, but understanding that worldly things will give me happiness and security. One is thinking, the other thing is, all this is God alone is real. God alone can give me peace. They too have to reach that state, but those who have finished their 10th, the school children, and for those, this is also a path, but for those who know that God alone is real and world is illusory, they have not realized, they understand. For them, there is another thing. Those whose spiritual consciousness has been awakened never make a false step. But those whose spiritual consciousness has been awakened, who have realized that God alone is real and all else is illusory, cherish a different ideal. They are aware that God alone is the doer and others are his instruments. We are all instruments in the hand of God. And God has to use me to do the sadhana. God has to use me, make me do sadhana. I am at His feet. I have offered myself unconditionally at His feet because He alone can guide me. He alone can remove me from all bonds. They are aware. Those whose spiritual consciousness has been awakened never make a false step. They do not have reason in order to shun evil. They do not have to reason in order to shun evil. What for I have to do? The tendency to do itself won't be there. World is illusory. God alone is real when you know. No, yesterday I slept. Suppose I got a dream. There something, a tree is going to fall. It is in such a bad condition that tree is going to fall. And it may fall on my own house. Suppose I get a dream. After waking up, I don't try to attend to that. Oh, where is that tree that was about to fall on my house? I have to, because he knows it was illusory. He has nothing to do there. When a person knows world is illusory, it's just an appearance only. He doesn't try to change it. Now clouds are there in the sky. One is looking like a tiger, one is looking like a cow. Now I don't try to change it because it is ever-changing flux. It is illusory. Forms are illusory. Oh, real is the cloud. What has taken that shape is, I don't try to save that cow from the tiger. Seeing, because it is illusory. Like that, one who knows God, he need not put efforts also. That attention doesn't go. I have to do that the intention doesn't come. The involvement doesn't come. It is illusory. They are so full of love of God that their whatever action they undertake is good action. So they are so full of love. Two things. One is they need not shun evil, reasoning out that is going to give pain because they know it's illusory. Another part is they need not, because they love God, every action they do is always good. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.